Hey everyone and welcome back. It's Gina from orchidandopal.com, and today we're going to be checking out the Potomac Beads Best Bead Box subscription. This is the smaller treasure edition for June 2023. I did receive this a couple of weeks ago, so chances are if you are a subscriber to this one, you've gotten it well before this video. But whether you've seen this one revealed already or if you are newer to the subscription and want to see what it's all about, I'm happy to have you. So let's go ahead and open this up. And I'll tell you more about this box while we check out the contents. So as you could already tell, this comes in a sturdy, reusable container with a magnetic closure. And I find these boxes are really good to reuse for storage purposes. Most important though is what's inside, of course. Our theme this month is called Nature Lover. And as I mentioned, this is their smaller subscription. It's a little bit less costly than their kit edition. And that one comes with 2 or 3 projects a month with a printed pattern and the contents needed to make those patterns. This one, however, is geared more towards beads to use along with items from your stash or to follow along with some ideas maybe that they post throughout the month based on the contents that you see here. Potomac Beads is also a pretty big online bead store, so by getting these boxes you can kind of sample and find out what other things they carry that are similar to these items, and also you know where you can probably pick up more of them. In addition to that, they have hundreds of projects, many of which are in the form of free YouTube tutorial videos to go along with all sorts of the different products they carry, so there's lots of ideas out there if you need inspiration. And this particular box ships worldwide. That shipping cost will just depend on your location, and the monthly box price also depends on how long you sign up. So I have the link right down below the video in the description section. As usual, you can follow that and it'll take you to the page that talks about this particular subscription and all the ins and outs and everything you need to know about signing up. So we have our insert, and on the back, this is where we find out exactly what is included in this box. And just note that specific colors aren't listed there, so you'll be relying on what is listed on the bag or tagged on the actual product itself in some cases for that information. And one of the reasons being that the colors and selections could vary slightly from box to box. So instead of listing that there, you get the general idea of the actual type of product that you're receiving. So here's a sneak peek at the contents of the box, and this one does not come with actual patterns any longer or the beads needed to make specific patterns. So we're going to check out everything one by one. And while we're looking at these, maybe we can think about what we can pair these with from our own stash. And you can also peruse their YouTube channel and their website for some inspiration directly related to these contents. So the first item on the list is in this bag, which contains the 4mm Potomac crystal bicones. And as you can see, that's a very beautiful capri blue or teal type of a color. These are very sparkly, and you'll notice with these subscription boxes, you'll see a lot of the Potomac brand, the in-house brands that they are offering seems to be expanding all the time. So naturally, you're going to see a lot of things from their brands in these boxes. That's just an FYI. But I really do like these Potomac crystal bicones. I think they're definitely a step above Chinese crystal in terms of their quality. They still have a lot of sparkle, cleanly drilled holes, and a wide color range. In our second bag, we have what was listed as Gemstone pebble beads on our list, and these are indeed actual genuine labradorite pebble beads. They're in a 6 to 8mm size and on one of these mini strands, and you can see all those beautiful flashes of blue that show up as you move these beads around a little bit. I recently learned that there's a word called labradorescence, which seems a little clunky to say, but that is supposed to be the term for that blue flash that you see specifically in these labradorite stones, which is so eye-catching on what would otherwise be a pretty neutral and dulled down light gray with some black and other neutral inclusions. Up next is a strand of the 2mm Potomac pearls. These are in the pastel green, and this is on an 8-inch string. It's a really beautiful satiny, lighter shade of green that looks like it'll go well with a lot of items here that are included in the box this month, but also just something nice to have on hand in your stash because these 2mm rounds will fit right into a number of different projects. Up next, we have a set of 3 miter shell beads. These are Czech glass in one of their unique pressed shapes. So the color variation I received, it's not listed on the bag, but it looks to be one of the jet black with the AB coating. It's got the opaque glass underneath that really bright flash of metallic in the blues, greens, and purples that bring out some of the details of that shell, which has this press design on both sides, and that coating just showing up on one side so the other is left completely black. And they have a hole that runs through the length of the bead. I'm just taking some of these items out of the bag already as I'm going through and showing you these close-ups. But our next item on the list is a set of 2 Czech glass shell fossil beads. On the bag, these are listed as pale turquoise travertine. So of course they do have that more antique and stone-like appearance with that travertine finish that really dulls down the turquoise underneath, making that look a lot more olive green, and seeing a lot of areas where that brown is showing up on top of that flat round disc shape with the spiral detail, and a look at where the hole is located there going up and down through the center. And that design and finish shows up on both sides. Up next is a very generous long strand of these wavy leaf beads. This is like a double strand quantity here. And there is a lot going on, it looks like, on these leaves. We have, first of all, that silver shine that is showing up in spots all around the surface. And I'm seeing some different colors popping up underneath. Some olive green, also a little bit of yellow that's been toned down by some extra finish. These appear to have a Picasso type of finish along with the additional silver wash that gives these a little extra sheen. And all these leaves are similar but going to be just slightly different. That design that's etched in does show up on both sides, and these have a hole that runs directly through that more narrow end. And here's our next strand. This is containing the 8mm Czech faceted fire polish rounds, and the color I received here is called Seafoam. There may be more to that, of course, but that is where it stops on the bag. We do see that there's a combination of the more really light transparent seafoam color and some of that opaque metallic finish on parts of the beads, so you're getting a look at all different angles, which makes these really interesting to look at. And another great addition color-wise, they are in that shade of green that blends really well with the Capri Blue bicones and also some of the more neutrals that we've seen and that we have coming up, and also those light green pearls. We have yet another strand to take a look at. This one contains the 2mm Czech smooth round Druck beads. So similar in size to the pearls, although they do seem just a tad bit bigger if it's not an illusion. And as you can see, these have a little bit of an AB coating or that rainbow finish that shows up on certain spots of these otherwise crystal clear glass beads. Certainly a very usable combination again of both the color appearance and the size and shape. So these look really plain, and they are, but they do offer some possibilities. One example being that they can form the base of a beaded bead if you're into bead weaving and using seed beads to bead around something like this as a form, and being that they are wooden, they don't weigh down projects as much as, say, glass if you're using glass or stone in this particular size. And I looked up this particular type of wood, and it looks like it's more of a sustainable type of a product in terms of how they go about sourcing the raw material for these. In addition to using these as a form to bead onto, I'm sure there's lots of other creative uses for these beads besides just using them plain, of course. mixed in with other bead types. It seems like you could potentially use different types of paints, stains, or glazes on something like this, although I'm not someone that has personally experimented with that. That's just something that comes to mind. The wooden material also kind of goes along with that nature lover theme, and so does this. We have a wooden bezel. This is a round, fairly large size. I don't see that listed here, but if I were to guess, I would say it's around 30 millimeters in diameter. And that's something where you could frame out a cabochon if you have something that is in this exact size. You could even put a multimedia piece together or use this along with resin, or even use this as a frame for a really tiny bead embroidered pendant. So here is a look at the back. It's just pretty plain back there. It's got that dark stain overall and comes with a really simple metallic bail. Moving on down the list, there's a set of 2 of the Dragonfly wing beads, and these 2 are in an antique brass color tone with the hole that runs up there through the center of those wings, which do have a nice amount of detail and shape and do have that same appearance on both sides. Next up is a pack of 20 of the copper nugget beads, and these kind of remind me of the Miyuki Magatamas. Their hole is drilled slightly off center, and they get a little bit thicker there at the bottom, allowing them to drop down just a little bit, perhaps from your other beadwork. And I like that we're getting in some of these metallic accents mixed in with the wood and the glass and the stone material. Overall, I'm finding this package to be pretty cohesive and probably one of my favorites that I've received so far since they've transitioned to this new box format. Our next item is a pewter metallic button. There's one piece that was included in the bag, and we've seen this design before. Previously, it was in like a antique silver color, I think. This time we have more of an antique brass, which will go along with some of these earthy tones. And there's a look at the back where you can attach that to your beadwork, maybe if you're making a wrap style beaded bracelet, or use that in some other type of closure to add that additional metallic finishing touch. Last up for our beads, we have a bag containing the Miyuki size 8.0 round seed beads in seafoam lined crystal. At least that's the color that I have here in this package. I do like it when they provide the seed beads in these subscriptions, especially since they usually send Miyuki or some other high quality Japanese brand of seed bead that is very uniform and very regular in its size and shape. And I think this variety is on point with that greenish lining that we see inside of the crystal clear glass, and also that addition of the AB coating. So there's a hint of iridescence all over the surface. And then to wrap it all up, we have some pad post earring findings as well as a bag of the earring backs that I'll show you in just a minute. But it looks like these are the 6mm size. And again, something you could bead directly onto, or you could glue these to the back of something else. What's also nice is that these are stainless steel, so they're going to retain their color, and also they are hypoallergenic. I'm not seeing a quantity that's listed on the bag or on the insert, but it looks to be enough here to make probably 8 to 10 pairs, I would say, as an estimate. And then our final item, I won't take these out of the bag, but they are the silicone clutch small ear wire backs. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but a very important thing to have, especially when you're working with the post earring findings. You really don't want that earring to slip out that you worked hard on. And I don't know about you, but I lose these types of things all the time, so it's always handy to get more to bulk up the beading stash. So that wraps it up for the June 2023 Potomac Beads Best Bead Box in the Treasure Edition with this very serene and peaceful color combination. And I like the combination of materials that they put together for us this month too. Like I said, it's probably one of my favorites that we've received since they have made some changes to their box. The contents feel pretty well balanced and cohesive. There's a lot here that you could mix and match and have fun putting together to create some finished pieces directly from what you've received in the box. Not to mention some really handy things and also very usable items that you can combine with items from your own stash or hang on to for future contents. So I really recommend these boxes, especially if you are somebody who wants to follow along with projects and you also want to try to sample a lot of different things. I also find that Potomac beads subscriptions are helpful for maybe those who are newer when it comes to bead weaving. Maybe you've done a lot of stringing already, but you're trying to dabble more into some other types of projects. They've got so many different tutorials and ideas to go along with these types of beads in that way, but in all sorts of other applications too. So again, be sure to check for that link right down below the video in the description section. It'll take you right to their subscriptions page so you can find out more details and all the ins and outs about signing up. But I want to thank you all so much for being here and sharing in this unboxing with me. I always appreciate having you. Feel free to leave a comment down below. Also hit the big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That's all for now, though. I hope to see you all again real soon. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. And as always, happy beading.